Today on Investigate TV Plus, seconds count during a medical emergency, but our investigation found potentially life-saving care is often delayed. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. We take an in-depth look at this critical time crunch and one state solution to improve ambulance response times.
Plus, a tale of a canine companion.
She realizes human feelings.
Service dogs provide comfort and care for adults and children, but
we're short like millions of them already, so how can you quickly scale up?
we explore how work at a special kindergarten could provide a solution to the shortage of these life-changing pups.
Then what goes around comes around.
It's an addiction, like seriously, because of the endorphins you get, and then you're always learning different things.
We lace up our skates and check out why rinks are once again on a roll.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus.
When you or someone you know is experiencing a medical emergency, you expect help to arrive within minutes.
But thousands of people across America are finding out calling 911 doesn't mean you'll get picked up quickly. For at least 90% of calls, a recommended ambulance response time to a medical emergency is 8 minutes. But a study published in the Journal of Emergency Medical Services found since 2017, EMS delays have been creeping over that benchmark.
Investigative reporter Chris Nakamoto takes an in-depth look at wait times and the steps that one of the largest cities in America took to improve emergency response.
Rita was watching television and I was reading a book. She said, I'm going to go to sleep. I said, all right. And as soon as I stood, it was like somebody hit me across the chest with a baseball bat. She told me, you're having a heart attack. I'm calling 911.
Medics arrived in a fire truck within minutes, but the agonizing wait for an ambulance desperately drawn out.
They immediately put a line in me. Second truck arrived 3 minutes later. In the meantime, the call for an ambulance was put in and I needed to get to the ER ASAP.
Are they calling to say, where are they? What's going on?
They're calling every single minute. They were exasperated.
Exasperated because as the clock ticked, 55 minutes elapsed before an ambulance showed up. Sandy Edline says all of the ambulances were tied up, stuck at area hospitals in what is well known in medical circles as waiting on the wall.
Imagine that you need an ambulance. High wall times happen when an ambulance transports you to the hospital. But there are no beds available in the emergency room, forcing the paramedics or the EMTs to wait with you on the wall until the hospital will take over your care.
These delays not only frustrate response teams and those seeking care, but also take that ambulance out of service. It was more than an hour after the first call to 911 for help that Edline arrived at the hospital with a widowmaker heart attack and immediately underwent emergency heart surgery to install a stent. Edline survived, but experts say such dire delays can drastically impact outcomes for patients. It's a setup playing out from coast to coast. Our national investigative team uncovered that in 2023 alone, data indicates ambulances reported being delayed returning to service because of long wall times hundreds of thousands of times.
And this is a problem that we have everywhere across the country.
Dr. Clayton Kazan is the medical director for the Los Angeles County Fire Department. He oversees the 1,000 calls for assistance that come in each day in America's most populous county with nearly 10 million people. State data indicates at least 70,000 patients get stuck on the wall each year in his state.
If we don't do something, the hospital offload times are going to crush the EMS system. And it's going to impact people in their homes who are having acute life-threatening emergencies like cardiac arrest, seizures, or major trauma patients in the street.
At hospitals around the county, our cameras captured ambulances lined up outside hospitals. Investigate TV showed Dr. Kazan these images, and he confirmed the ambulances were waiting on the wall. The problem, not only prolific but personal for one California state lawmaker. As a paramedic himself, Freddie Rodriguez knows the risks wall times pose to the public.
Because staffing or issues at a hospital doesn't have a bed to put that patient in, you're going to have to wait in a hallway with the patient, you and your partner, for 12 hours.
Our national investigative team combed through data from the National Emergency Medical Services Information System, also known as NEMSIS. which collects data from 911 calls and where EMS crews are dispatched. Our analysis of 2023 data found that for calls where crews reported waiting on the wall, the average time it took for the ambulance to get back into service was more than 40 minutes. But many delays are even longer. We found that roughly 1 in 5 crews reported being delayed an hour or longer. In extreme cases, hours turn into days.
The longest wall time in Los Angeles County was 25 hours.
Our national investigative team looked at state laws around the country and found most states don't have a law that limits wall times for ambulance crews. The feds have known about this problem for years, and the Department of Health and Human Services has in the past sent out an urgent notice, alerting states that hospitals may be violating the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, known as EMTALA, by parking patients on the wall. But that notice was issued in July 2006, and despite nearly 2 decades going by, many say the problem's only getting worse. That's why Rodriguez authored a bill that was signed into law last year, making California one of the first states to attempt to keep wall times in check.
And like I told folks, you don't need to tell me. I've worked the field. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen the delays. I've been delayed to 911 calls because hospitals were tied up.
Hospitals are now required to report wall times publicly and must come up with protocols to reduce them further. As Los Angeles County slowly makes changes, a pilot program called the Advanced Provider Response Unit, funded through a grant, is also helping reduce hospital wall times. This roving pharmacy on wheels responds to 911 calls with a paramedic and a nurse practitioner. If the patient can be treated on scene, it eliminates the need for a trip to the hospital. So far, that program has responded to 18,000 calls and alleviated the need for ambulance transports for 7,000 patients.
The reality is the longer you park patients on the wall, the more likely we're going to have bad outcomes result.
Edline is among the 12% who survived the type of heart attack he suffered. He says his doctor lamented the additional time it took for him to receive care because with cardiac events, minutes matter. And the 55-minute delay is why he plans to keep fighting for accountability and change at the local level and beyond.
We're not talking about conservative, liberal, Democrat, Republican issues. We're talking about the health and welfare of entire communities and cities in the nation.
Ambulance companies say wall times hit record highs during the pandemic, where it was not uncommon to wait for at least 5 hours. All agree this is a systemic healthcare issue.
It's a part of life that can be difficult to discuss. Just ahead, we walk you through end-of-life planning and help you broach the topic with your loved ones.
But first, an urgent need for purposeful pups.
She knows when he gets anxious, she knows when he gets upset, and she's there.
We get a glimpse about how a service dog can change a life and show you how wisdom gained about the breed could help solve a critical shortage.
A concerned glance, a caring cuddle, a constant companion. Service dogs serve a deep purpose for people with disabilities. Service dogs provide the disabled with a new lease on life by performing a variety of day-to-day tasks that may seem simple to us, like opening doors, picking up a dropped cell phone, or putting on socks.
But of the 61 million people in the United States living with disabilities, fewer than 1% are teamed with service dogs. Experts say that's because genetics play a major role in determining whether a dog can be trained to perform service work, which limits the pool.
Reporter Heather Graff shows us how researchers, along with the service dog organization Canine Companions, teamed up to get more dogs to people in need.
This is the type of swing that I like because you can just kind of like sprawl out.
It's like almost like being in a hammock, right?
Yeah, almost.
An afternoon at the park with his best friend by his side.
Got that merry-go-round?
We can, yeah.
Easton Gonzalez, his mom Jennifer, and their dog Wisdom go just about everywhere together.
If we leave her at home, she's a little confused.
But Wisdom is not confused about her job. She is a pup with a purpose.
No pets in playground area.
She's not a pet. She's first a service dog.
More specifically, Easton's service dog. Easton was born with spina bifida. The 13-year-old relies on a wheelchair and
he's had 12 surgeries in 12 years.
One for nearly every year of his life.
There's a lot of trauma that goes with that.
A trauma no child should endure alone. Jennifer says the surgeries and other medical procedures have caused her son to suffer from severe anxiety.
There have been a lot of tearful moments.
Like any parent, Jennifer wanted to ease her son's pain, so she turned to local spina bifida groups who directed her to Canine Companions.
We provide dogs for any kind of physical disability, including amputations or spina bifida.
Paige Mazzani is the organization's CEO.
We actually created the concept of service dogs for physical and mobility disabilities. Before us, there were only guide dogs for blindness.
Now in their 50th year, Canine Companions provides service dogs free of charge to their clients. The organization has their program down to a science. But like any basic method of problem solving, the results can be a little rough.
Okay. So only about 50% of the dogs that go through our process actually make it because we have a very high standard. And we want to increase that rate.
And that's where a study involving the puppy kindergarten at Duke University in Durham, North Carolina came in. Duke Puppy Kindergarten tested the mental abilities of puppies with the ultimate goal of getting more assistance dogs to more people in need.
There's not just smart dogs and dumb dogs. There's different dogs who, have these different cognitive abilities.
Vanessa Woods is the director and helped lead research at the Duke Puppy Kindergarten. She says the puppies arrived at just 8 weeks old and stayed until they were about 6 months. Vanessa says they start that young because at that age, puppies have rapid brain development, and researchers may be able to assess whether they have what it takes to graduate and eventually become someone's service dog.
Puppy, look. Okay.
That's Wisdom in 2020, performing one of the cognitive tests at Duke Puppy Kindergarten with ease. She did so well, the star student made it into Vanessa's book, Puppy Kindergarten, The New Science of Raising a Great Dog. She wrote, Wisdom enjoys training and is a good puppy friend to a classmate named Arthur. Wisdom was a rare breed, and she earned her name. Vanessa says she consistently earned 100s on all her tasks.
She was just one of those amazing puppies, like right out the gate. She was just good at everything.
And graduated valedictorian of the class of 2020.
When we were paired up with her, I was in tears.
Back at a Florida park, a grown-up Wisdom keeps her watchful eyes on Easton, always ready to offer a helping paw.
She has a calm spirit.
Easton's mom looks on too.
You're a good girl. You're such a good girl.
Because of Easton's age, Jennifer acts as Wisdom's primary handler, meaning she, Easton, and Wisdom are a three-part team.
I would have the leash, but she would always pace herself with Easton's wheelchair as opposed to me, which tells me she knew this was her assignment.
But Wisdom is more than a companion for Easton.
We know that she takes care of him in ways that we can't.
The saying goes, there's nothing truer in the world than the love of a good dog. And that sentiment has never been truer for Easton.
It has been so... it has been the best 2.5 years.
The characteristics of a good service dog are the moral of this tale. Researchers at Duke conducted cognitive tests on labs, lab mixes, and golden retrievers. They found the best service dogs were intelligent, showed control, and made eye contact with their handler. They also waited for their handlers for guidance.
Duke Puppy Kindergarten closed at the end of the 2024 semester, but the team is currently reapplying for funding with the National Institutes of Health.
In the meantime, the program is transitioning to a student-led puppy club, so Duke students can volunteer to become puppy raisers for Canine Companions.
You can learn more about becoming a puppy raiser by going to our website, InvestigateTV.com, and typing Puppy Raisers in the search bar.
From fostering 4 paws to learning how to roll on 2 wheels.
Before I die, I want to learn how to skate.
Just ahead, we take you inside skate culture and show you how the roller rink inspires the young and old. And coming up next, planning your final days can be difficult, but having a conversation with loved ones now could save them added stress down the road.
We help you navigate this difficult but important discussion. When it comes to the end of life, planning is important, but that doesn't make it easy.
A 2024 survey by AARP found while 85% of adults over 45 are comfortable discussing death and dying, 7 in 10 say the topic is generally avoided.
You might have to plan a funeral for a family member at some point, so a meaningful conversation about death can help loved ones make informed decisions without stress and fear. Kitty Coleman lost her husband in March of 2020.
Joe was diagnosed with cancer in 2016, so we had 4 years to talk.
But she began having conversations about his final wishes in the years before he died.
Joe was the kind of person that needed decisions made, knowing, what was coming down the road. I, on the other hand, had to awaken to a pot of coffee and a box of tissue. That was the only way that he could get me to sit down and have these conversations.
The website Trust and Will echoes Kitty, saying it's important to prepare for the inevitable. It's even more essential, like in Joe's case, if you're facing a terminal diagnosis. Trust and Will suggests that during end-of-life conversations, you make direct eye contact with your loved ones. Remain compassionate but firm. Also be matter-of-fact. Keep the conversation fact-based. Ensure your own understanding. Often families will need assurance that you fully understand what you're asking. And finally, give your loved ones time. Stuart Grant with Evergreen Burial Park in Roanoke, Virginia agrees. The more time you have to discuss your wishes, the easier it is for everyone.
Well, doing it ahead of time, there's no stress. You can have a clear head and think about things that you want to do and mull it over for a few days or a few weeks, but there's no time frame, and when someone passes, it has to be done within the next day or so to have everything prepared for the service.
As for Kitty, she admits those conversations with her husband were emotional, but she's glad she took the time to listen.
Have the conversations now. You're also honoring the wishes of your loved ones.
Up next, a rolling revival.
Once you come in here and put skates on, you're part of the skate family.
How skating inspires people of all ages and backgrounds to hit the rink and find their common ground. From the streets of 18th century Europe to the glowing stage of the Super Bowl, roller skating has glided its way through history.
The 1970s brought disco to the roller rink, and the inline skates of the 90s added some adventure to the cultural phenomenon. Today, social media is showing a remarkable resurgence in roller skating. The skating scene has made a big comeback in the wake of COVID, with celebrities showing it's all about freedom and fun.
It's an environment where everyone is accepted. I met a group of skaters in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, who say it's all quite simple. Just show up, lace up, and skate your stress away. They glide, spin, slide, and swerve.
Feels good, don't it?
For these loyalists, Skate Galaxy in Baton Rouge is rolling relaxation, therapy on wheels.
This is one of the best stress relievers. When you come in here, you leave all those negative problems outside. Because once you put skates on, you have to stay focused. Straight line.
Coach LT Otis has been focused on skating since he was 5.
Short step like that.
Now in his 70s, he's sharing the basic skills of roller skating with a new generation.
It's an addiction, like seriously. Because of the endorphins you're getting, and you're always learning different things. Plus, you meet people from all over the world.
Before I die, I want to learn how to skate.
His student Anna Moore is from Vietnam.
And he's really patient because I'm taking it slow.
But once a new skater is up to speed, the sky's the limit. There's nothing Raheem Radio Ingram won't try.
You're good.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
This IT technician by day comes here at night for a mental reset.
This is my safe zone. This is where I come to de-stress throughout the week.
And stress relief is exactly what radio's friend Lance Hall needed during some difficult times.
Got married, got divorced, and it was a little rough, so I needed something to do. So I came down here and I seen the guys skating, and I had never seen that kind of skating before. Like, it normally just go around in circles, you know?
The circles are still there, but today's skaters have stepped things up, adding spins and personal flair. In fact, how you skate says a lot.
People in Cali, they skate on the micro wheels and they do the sliding skating, and then, you know, the Midwest and Chicago, they all do very different styles. So you see somebody skating, you can tell where they come from.
Skate fever is all over. The contagious family spirit has people of all ages hooked.
I'm 66.
66.
Yes. And you're not nervous about breaking something, or?
No, it's all part of the progress.
Naomi Evans is 15 and flying on her tiny wheels.
I will admit I've had trouble with depression, especially as a teenager, and this truly brings out the happy parts of my life.
Once you come in here and put skates on, you're part of the skate family. Nobody's gonna laugh at you for falling or making a mistake.
Just know it's all part of the skating experience that from one decade to another just keeps on rolling.
Do you skate?
I do not. I like to keep my limbs, not healthy, I guess. Yes, but it's a good workout. It's great stress relief. And I don't know, maybe I'll try it. I noticed you didn't put skates on in that story.
So I've had knee surgery for a torn meniscus, and I wouldn't want my orthopedic surgeon to see me on skates, but I did have a good time watching.
Good story.
Yeah. Well, that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Tisha Cohn.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Thanks for watching. On the next Investigate TV Plus, overseas scammers prey on patriotic Americans through high-tech fakes.
There's breaking the bank, and then there's breaking your heart.
Yeah, and both of that happened.
We'll explain how criminals use social media to get a woman's life savings.